13.2 Contemporary Issues, Libby Ferguson. My first contemporary issue is violence within sport, and the first part of this is participant violence. Football has always had the element of violence in it. The game first originated from the sport mob football. Mob football is a medieval sport that only has one rule: you aren't allowed to murder any other players. Other than this one rule, anything is allowed. The game was first originally played between two villages. There were no player number restrictions, and it was played across the natural land. However, after the game ended, all this land between would have been destroyed by the large crowds of players. The aim of the game was to get the ball to the other end of the opposing village. However, this sport could get so violent that it had to be stopped. Football is unlike any other sport played. Players argue back with the ref, players will dive to win a foul, and there are a number of fights. There are three forms of aggression. First is hostile. Hostile aggression is where you harm an opponent on purpose and inflict an injury onto another player. An example of this in football would be a two-footed tackle on another player. The next is instrumental aggression. This is when there is no intent to harm another. It is strictly within the rules of the game. This type of aggression is often goal-directed and often involves robust or forceful actions. An example of this in football is when the last defender will take out the striker to stop a possible goal from occurring. This is because their aim wasn't to injure the player, but to stop a goal-scoring opportunity from occurring. Finally, assertion. This is when there is no intent to harm another player. So in football, if two players jump to win a header, they may shoulder barge each other whilst in the air. This is an unintentional aggression, as the players wouldn't have meant to harm the other opponent, however the players would have ended up hurt. Violence in sport is caused by a number of factors, one of them being arousal. Arousal is linked to the inverted U theory. This theory suggests that when an athlete is at their optimum state of arousal, then their performance levels will be at their best too. It also shows that if the athlete's arousal is either too high or too low, then their performance levels won't be as high and will impact their sport. When a player is overly aroused, their performance can decrease and their frustration will increase. This frustration could be due to the player getting annoyed at their bad performance. However, Dollard in 1939 also suggested that frustration develops when the need to achieve a goal is blocked in some way, shape or form. This implies that frustration can occur through environmental situations, such as the referee disallowing your goal, or not giving a foul that was committed on you. Another factor that causes violence is rivalry between teams. These rivalries are normally caused by two teams being in close proximity to one another, such as Manchester United and Manchester City, or if there was a previous fight that has caused the two teams to have a rivalry throughout history, and it remains today. These rivalries can cause players to become violent, as they'll want to be the team that comes out on top. This violence can also be encouraged from the crowds and the fans. Another factor that causes violence is the level that the game is played at. So, for example, if the teams are playing in the final of a competition, they will want to win badly. This could mean that they become more violent to try and get this edge over the other team and win. Also, with big games comes pressure, as there will be a lot of prize money to win, as well as scouts that could be in the crowd watching. These are all factors that could influence a player to become more violent, so that they become well known to these scouts, or they give their team the edge to win them the prize money. Solutions to help try and prevent player violence. So a theory put forward by Berkowitz in 1969 is a combination of the frustration theory, which was put forward by Dollard in 1939, and the social learning theory. The social learning theory suggests that people will observe behaviour and copy it. So this new theory put forward by Berkowitz in 1969 was created due to errors that were presented by Dollard. So Dollard's theory states that when frustration is evident, and so is over-arousal, and when it's not controlled, then aggression is likely to occur. However, this new theory that's been put forward by Berkowitz now takes into account that there are times or ways you can control the frustration. It doesn't always need to result in aggression. It suggests that you can reach catharsis. So catharsis is the process of releasing and provides relief from strong or repressed emotions in different ways that will not lead to aggression, but rather by controlling your aggression. So this could be a player maybe taking a breath, stepping back if there is a fight being taken place. Our national governing body for football, so this is the FA, they can also make new rules that can be implemented into the game to help tackle the level of violence in the game. They can impose rules that punish the footballers if they commit a violent act. So these punishments can consist of the player being subbed, banned or fined. This then means that the officials during the game have to be consistent with following these punishments so that the players learn that violent behaviour isn't acceptable within the sport. The qualities of officials should also improve, and this could be done by obtaining more qualifications or renewal courses to keep them up to date with these rule changes. As well, at young ages, it's the parents, coaches or even the teachers' responsibilities to educate the young players that violence is wrong within sport. And they should then reinforce this message as the child grows up so that this young player will then apply it if or when they become a professional footballer, so that they can then set a good example for future generations that violence is wrong within sport. So, as well as there being violence between the players during a football match, there is also violence between spectators that are watching the game. This can also be known as hooliganism. These violent acts could be due to people trying to conform with others who are displaying this behaviour, or it could be that they feel a pressure from the atmosphere or environment around them to get up and join them with a fight. They also may feel they need to conform with the concept of de-individualization. So this is when people merge into or conform with big groups as they feel as though they aren't seen and are lost within the group. There are also people who just want to start fights, which could be due to them being in a gang, or they could be under the influence of drugs and alcohol. People can also use violence during sport as a way of escapism from their lives outside of the grounds. So they may have a boring job, or maybe a not so eventful life, that they can then use this violence as a way of catharsis. As well as rivalries causing violence between players, it can also cause violence between spectators. This is because rivalries are advertised by the media as a massive important game, and the fans will get hyped up and can also be overly intoxicated, which can then make the fans from both teams start to fight between one another. So solutions to try and tackle this. So to help tackle this issue, the grounds can increase the amount of police that's in it and around the stadium, so that they can quickly diffuse any situations that may occur between these spectators. They can also increase the CCTV around the stadium, so if an incident occurs, they can identify any individuals or groups involved and punish them as seen fit. CCTV can also offer a better viewpoint, as the police may not be able to see everything from the ground level, especially if there are large groups. So this CCTV just gives them another viewpoint. The stadium will also separate the home and away fans to prevent opposition fans from fighting during the game. So there will normally be a line of police officers or stewards between them as well. So as well as this, some stadiums won't let the away team out at the same time as the home fans. So this just stops the two fans from causing fights outside of the stadium